welcome to Vision to Success with me and
Jason LeDuc from Evil Genius Leadership Consultants. I'm going to say it myself this time.
I was gonna say Evil Genius Leadership.
Well, thank you for saying that. So,
And this is he is a business mentor. That's why I have him here.
yeah, and I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here with you, and happy to be here with all of you to talk about growing your businesses, making your businesses stronger, building teams around you, and generally success in general on how to get the path to success. And it's not always easy and it's not always fun, but if you follow some certain things, you've got a much better chance than just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So
Yes. Well, you were talking about it's not always easy, but look at this resort world here in Vegas that's opening soon, right?
yeah, and that certainly wasn't a process. That was a process that wasn't easy over the years, but yes, very exciting. More exciting Las Vegas news. The Strip is opening back up, and
Yeah.
Resorts World Las Vegas, which is the first property on the Strip, the first new resort on the Strip to open in 10 years, which is hard to believe because it seems that there was a new one opening every 3 or 4 months way back in the day, but this is the first new resort to open in 10 years, and it's been a long time coming. They've been building it for a few years. They were talking about it for a few years before that. So very exciting that we have a new resort coming up on the Strip.
Yes.
And what's really exciting about that is they're hiring. They're opening June 24th, and they were doing their first hiring weekend.
Nice.
Over 100,000 people applied for the jobs they have.
Wow.
And that's really exciting
That's
to
impressive.
me.
Yeah. With this COVID, this
Yeah, what
exciting.
that tells me is that the doom and gloom of people don't want to go back to work. Maybe we're over that, and there's a lot of people who are looking to come back to work.
Oh
So
yes, yeah. I've been hiring actually people here at social media shows, and I've seen a lot of applicants that really wanted to work, and it's really hard to find the right skill for the job. But yeah, I've seen a lot of those things. But anyways, going back to Resort World, do you know that Resort World is the most expensive, the biggest hotel resort here in Vegas?
I didn't know that, but it doesn't surprise me because A, it's enormous, and B, they're building at a time when things are a little more expensive. A lot of the stuff that is out on the Strip now was built in the 90s or built in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And while interest rates are still really low right now, but construction materials have gone up. I mean, labor has gone up. It's not surprising to me that it's the most expensive resort.
It's most expensive.
And it is enormous. If you haven't
And
seen
the
it, go
biggest
look at
one.
it online. Yeah,
Yes.
it's enormous.
I think they started building it up in 2014.
That sounds right. That
Yeah.
was the beginning of the project.
Yes.
But
and
I
I've
don't.
been waiting, and now it's up.
It's
and
been a
not-
long time coming. It's
Yeah,
exciting.
and it's beautiful. Go and check it out. Everyone who's coming to Vegas, yeah, go and check it out.
Yeah, so it opens June 24th. So don't go check it out right now
No,
because you will probably be asked politely to leave. But
Mostly
yeah,
of the hotel right now.
but yes, they are opening June 24th. That date was kind of in limbo, and so it's great to have a formal announced date for that. It's great that they're hiring. It's great that people are coming back and getting back to work. So
Yeah, oh
and they
my God.
want to come back to work, and I'm really excited about that because. Well, you can tell us about it a little bit. You've been trying to hire. Are you finding it's hard to find people who want to come back to work? I've heard a lot of things that people are that employers are having trouble getting people to apply or getting people to come in because a lot of people want to work remotely or work from home now. Are you finding that?
No. So far, I think yes and no. I had so much people that applied to the position that I put out there and posted there, and I told them to come in for an initial interview, and probably 20% actually showed up.
That's great. 20 people showed up for one or
20% of the applicants.
Oh, 20%. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
So yeah,
That's still pretty good.
it's pretty good, and yeah, so far I only seen one and two, so.
So no, that's great. And so if you're looking to hire for your business, it looks
This
like
is the right time too.
Yeah, it's definitely the right time. It looks like things aren't quite as bad. People are looking to come back to work. It looks like it's going to be a really good time to hire. It might get harder to hire in a couple of months as the unemployment rate falls, as people start getting some of these jobs filled, and as things start opening up to 100% capacity. I think by the end of the year, we're probably going to be looking at a labor market that's a lot like it was in 2019, where where a lot of people are jumping from job to job, and there are not a lot of candidates for the jobs that you do have available. So it's time to think about hiring now if you're in a position to do it.
Yep. And we're opening, according to the newsletter of CISOLAC, I think it's June 1 is fully open.
That's what they're saying. So hopefully we won't have
yes.
have any major surprises that would keep us from doing that. But yeah, it looks like June 1st is the date we're targeting here in Las Vegas to get to about 100% of things being open.
Yep.
So
I am looking forward to it. Hey, are you not tired of staying at home?
Well, I think everybody's getting tired of staying at home. So
know,
that's a conversation for a different show, because on this show, on today's show, we have a very good friend of ours. Shane Young is coming on.
Ooh, exciting.
And so Shane Young is the founder, and she'll tell us what her exact title is, but she's the founder of Young Law Group, and they are very active here in Las Vegas, helping businesses start their business, grow their business, helping business people create and connect and grow their businesses. So she's going to be on in just a few minutes. So why don't we take a break?
Yes.
And then we'll bring Shane on, and we'll talk to her about her business, her journey, and some advice that she has for all of you on the legal side for your businesses.
Perfect. So we will be right back. Don't go away.
All right.
Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together, and let's bring the world to you. Join us now.
John is an employee at one of the most famous firms in the city of New York, so his job is very hectic, and he realized that it is necessary for him to go and finally take a vacation. But he went on a vacation without planning out the details, and wasn't able to truly enjoy where he went because he had to think about so many things that he didn't plan for. Instead of enjoying his time away from work, he came back with more stress that he was not able to take full advantage of his vacation. But this year, a coworker suggested him to try World Ventures this time to make his vacationing more enjoyable and less stressful. They do not require you to plan anything outside of your transportation, which is also available at discounted rates. Your stay, your transport, and many meals are planned by the club. John liked the idea very much. He tries World Ventures, and his experience with the club was amazing, as he made many friends there with whom he had a great time. John recommends that everyone should try this club, as they are the best in business. See how the VIP-vacation-club.com can give you the right experience without all the hassle. Enjoy the VIP experience that only World Ventures provides.
Welcome back to Vision to Success. And Jason, you want to introduce our guest?
I absolutely would love to introduce our guest. We've been friends for a few years. You've been on another show that I've hosted, which was a lot of fun. A little bit different format for this show, but please welcome our guest today, Shane Young, and you are the founder of Young Law Group. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about Young Law Group, and then we'll circle back and talk about how you got there.
Sure. So Young Law Group is a local Las Vegas law firm. We founded the firm in 2017. Mm-hmm. And our main practice or focus is legal life planning. So really any type of planning that we need to have done in our lives. So estate planning, like wills and trusts, business planning, making sure that if you're a business owner that you have all of the legal pieces in place for your business, kids protection planning if you've got minor children, pets protection planning if you've got pets, long-term care planning, and then we do have a personal injury division, young injury law, and so those are our main focuses as far as the practice, which we have actually won gold for Best of Las Vegas.
Yes,
we won
you
in
have
6 categories for 2020, and so that's been exciting.
Very impressive.
And that's a real testament to your team, because you've built a good team around you. And tell us a little bit about the team you've got.
Yeah, so that's been one of the critical things as far as building a business, right? Is having the good
People.
structure, support, and the people. Yeah. So thankfully, I do have a great team. First, my husband is a partner with me. He's not a lawyer, but he handles all of our marketing and operations. And then we've got 5 other team members that are in our office, our client services director, and other support staff. And we've got a marketing team as well. And then we do have some other independent contractors, that we work with. So we're actually looking to hire, which you guys were talking about a few minutes ago, and now really is the time. So that's been a really important part of our process, just making sure that we're making the right decisions. We're not jumping into hiring too quickly, but getting the right fit, finding someone that's good with our culture, our firm, that will be there long term.
So since you are hiring, like me, I'm hiring too. One of the challenges that businesses does is when they hire, and there are certain law that we have to follow as employer, and a lot of people now trying to get into a job, or just trying to find a job because the unemployment process, right? So and different things too. I have so many things running in my mind, so many questions I want to ask you right now. Yeah. So as an employer and this situation of COVID, what is the right step to hire a people without getting dinged by our government?
Well, I have to tell you, I'm not an employment attorney, so I have to be careful as far as,
that's
those
that's
types of things. Yeah.
I was thinking about that when I'm driving. I have to be careful because,
Yeah. But just as a general practice, I think that what I've learned as an employer is you want to make sure that you are first defining what it is that you're looking for in a candidate. Being really clear as far as the job description, the requirements, what you're looking for as far as your vision as the employer, right? So I think that's number one. And then when you do open it up to candidates, really looking for the quality candidates, which we've struggled with that too. We've gotten a lot of applications, but then there's only, like a small percentage of people that are actually qualified or that would be a good fit. So that's where you really do have to have the patience and the time. So if you're in a time crunch where you're just trying to get somebody in to fill a position, that's where I think you run into trouble, right? Where you just put somebody in, then it turns out that they're not a good fit and you've wasted time. Because when you're an employer and you hire someone, you are investing in them, right? You're investing into training, you're investing resources. So you want to make sure that when you do make that decision, that it's a good decision, and it may not always work out the way that we envision it, but the more time you spend, I think, on the front end in preparing and really coming up with a good plan that's intentional, I think the better off you are.
Yeah, one of the things that I think you do so well with Young Law Group is that you treat it like a business. And so many people who come from a core competency of something like the law or marketing or whatever their core competencies, they're really good at the core competency, and they think that's going to be that's all you've got to do is just show up and do a good job. And you've made some really smart plans, as your husband is running the operations and running the marketing, and you guys are treating it as a business. And to fold back to the hiring thing, it's so important when you're hiring that as an employer you think about, what am I willing to teach people? What am I willing to invest in? And what are the deal breakers? If they don't have this, I can't hire them. And there's some middle ground there where you can go, well, they've got this, but not that. But, the example I always like to use with my clients is, for some clients, being on time is really important for their employees. And it's really important for the job. If you're in a customer service position, that phone rings at 7 a.m.
You got to be there.
Right? So it's so important, especially on those things. Are you going to be a good fit for this organization, a good cultural fit for organization? If you're willing to work with someone for a long time to grow them into the employee that's a cultural fit, that's great. But sometimes you need to say, if they're not honest, I don't have time to spend people, teaching people honesty and professionalism.
Right.
So it all depends on your business. And you've got to figure out what those deal breakers are for you and what you're willing to work with your team on to grow them into what you want them to be. But they're almost never going to come fully formed into what you want them to be unless you've stolen them from someone else, which isn't always a bad idea.
Poaching from someone else?
Not a bad idea if you can find the right person who's the right fit and you're willing to sweeten the pot a little bit to make it worth their while to come over to you. But there's almost always some investment you have to make.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely there's an investment. And then if you do find that they're not a good fit, and usually you know that, you have the feeling, you've got the signs, and many times we wait, we're like, we give the benefit of the doubt and well, maybe this and that. Well, that's the hard part, is making that decision. Like, do I let this person go? And sometimes we feel bad, as an employer, like, oh gosh, well, if they don't work here, then what's going to happen? But many times it's an opportunity for them to be able to go and do something else that's a better fit for them, and for you to find the right person or people for your team.
Absolutely. And if it really is a situation where the person's a good person but not a good fit, so what you can do is, if that person's a really good person and they're good at some aspects of the job and maybe not a good fit, or they just can't live up to those expectations that you've got for them, you can help them get what I like to call a soft landing, right? Is, look, you're a good person, this isn't working out, you can't work here anymore, but here are some folks, let me recommend you to some folks, and maybe you're a good fit over there, or let me write you a letter of recommendation so that your next employer knows what the situation really was. We're not kicking you out of here because you're a bad person. It's not a good fit.
Right.
And that idea of a soft landing is something anyone can do with any employee in their business. And I think it really helps, and it helps, one, assuage your guilt a little bit for letting somebody go, because I know we all feel that. But like you said, good news doesn't get better with age. That was a saying we had in the Air Force. And so the sooner you can take care of that, one, you can get that person in a place where they're going to fit better, and then you can get the person who's the right fit for you.
Right. Yeah.
That's really funny, because that's one of the big challenges of employer like us is, especially when we build the relationship with the new employee already, is kind of like, and train them and invest so much time with them, is like, to let go. Yeah. So I've been a director for so long here in Las Vegas, and I used to have over 50 employees on my previous job, and that is just like literally so hard to let go. So I think it's a good advice not to just jump into, like, you like this person right away and hire them right away. I think because
it has to be a good business decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yes,
it has to be a good business decision.
I'm gonna say it again. You have to treat your business like a business.
Right. And that's something that you touched on earlier, Jason, was I see a lot of people that are great at what they do. They're great attorneys, they're great photographers, they're great whatever it is, business, product, service that they are able to offer. But when it comes to running a business, not only is that, that skill or, that industry or whatever it is that you have the expertise in critical to the success of your business, but running your business like a business is really important. And so when I meet with a lot of business clients, many times I see this time and time again. They're great at what they do, but then when it comes to those ancillary pieces that support their business or really form the structure of their business, they don't have those in place. So we do what's called a business planning session for business clients that we work with, where we talk about the 4 main structures of your business. So it's legal, insurance, financial, and tax. And so we do what's called a lift audit, where similar to how we have our estate planning process set up, we do a business planning session for the business owners, business clients, where we talk through those 4 different structures. So as far as the legal, how is your business set up, or how should it be set up from a legal perspective? What type of entity is the right entity for the business that you are engaging in, and the services that you're providing? Many times business owners think that, okay, well, I've got an LLC set up, I'm good, limited liability. And that's not enough to just have your filings with the Secretary of State, or even working with a document or corporate formation company does not cover you. So you want to make sure that you are actually being guided properly with someone that has legal expertise to make sure that your business is set up and it's the right type of business, that you've got the proper proper corporate documents in place, that you're following certain corporate formalities as you're operating your business, so that if there is a claim, or if you are sued, or if there is any type of liability, that you truly are protected from a liability standpoint. Because there is a concept in the law called piercing the corporate veil. And what that means is basically, if you've got a business set up and someone makes a claim against you, if it's not set up legally and you're not structurally sound, they can actually pierce the corporate veil, not only come after your business assets and anything that the business owns, but your personal assets as well. So that's why having your business set up correctly from the beginning is really important. But even if you do have a business set up and you are operating, it's better, to do this review, this audit, make sure that things are set up properly moving forward. It's better late than never.
Yes. Yeah. You're almost always better late than never. So I want to pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to talk about when you started Young Long Group,
sure.
why you started it, what got there, and then I want to circle back to this lift idea,
Okay.
but I want to understand what you learned along the way, both in your law career, forming the company, and how those experiences shaped you forming this lift idea.
Yeah, well, the genesis actually started when I was really young. From the time that I really moved to Las Vegas, I was young. I was in elementary school, and my dad was an entrepreneur. So he started his own airline and, got financing, purchased airplanes, hired people, including an attorney, to make sure that everything was set up correctly. And unfortunately, that attorney, with the help of some third parties, took advantage of my dad, pushed my dad out of control of his own business. They ran the business into bankruptcy, and we lost everything financially. My dad was the breadwinner for our family. And so, that had an impact on me. I was, even though I was young, I was the firstborn. So my dad shared a lot of this experience with me. He hired a second attorney to file a malpractice lawsuit against the first law firm. And so I saw just these interactions that he had in business with his lawyers. And I remember him sharing his experience and saying, or never feeling truly represented, never feeling truly advocated for. And that lawsuit that he filed, or that this attorney filed on his behalf for malpractice, actually lasted from the time I was in middle school until I was a sophomore in college. And, during all those years, my dad was certain, okay, well, justice will be served. The wrongdoers will be brought to justice. And unfortunately, it went up to the Nevada Supreme Court, and my dad's case was dismissed based on basically a statute of limitations issue, a technicality. So that experience growing up and seeing the struggle, seeing the devastation, and also the values that my family instilled in me, which really was, education was the most important thing, like being able to make empowered decisions. I saw that. And of course, it shaped the person that I became, because I wanted to make sure that I could help people. And so from a young age, I decided I wanted to be a lawyer, because I wanted to be able to provide value and to provide a service to our community. So I really focused on that. I graduated from Green Valley High School, not too far from where we are right now. And I was a valedictorian. I went to Pepperdine for undergrad, graduated in 3 years with my bachelor's degree in business, which was perfect timing because I was actually 5 months pregnant with my twins at the time. So that was not part of our plan. Actually, I'm married to my high school sweetheart, Charles, that we mentioned earlier. But I graduated on my twins' first birthday. I started law school here at Boyd. And I thought, okay, once I graduated and I got the job at the top firm, the big firm, I was making great money, and, my family was very proud because I was the first attorney. I got into private practice, and I was seeing that the traditional law firm was very much what my dad, had shared as far as his experience, where there was a disconnect between the attorneys and the client and the services that we're able to provide. So there were a lot of limitations that I did not like in the traditional law firm setting. And so I did actually stay in private practice for about 10 years. And then I went in-house as a general counsel for a financial services company. And then in 2017, I mentioned that we opened our firm. So I've been practicing since 2005. 5. But the way that we got here was, my family's experience, and then starting and working for several years in the corporate setting, the traditional law firm, and just seeing the disconnect and also the limitations on what I could really do as far as providing services. I wasn't feeling like my law degree was being put to the best use. But now with starting our own firm and having our own firm for almost 4 years, I can't believe it's gone by that quickly. Yeah.
I think you just started when we first met.
Yes,
I mean,
I
you were
just
brand
started.
new.
Yeah, hadn't even been 6 months. I think it was still so new. But it's been the greatest blessing, really, of my professional life, of my personal life, to be able to be serving clients and serving the community, families, business owners, really educating, empowering others to be able to make the best decisions, do things in a time of convenience, not in a time of crisis, being able to plan ahead, being proactive so that you are minimizing, eliminating the risk, making sure that everything is taken care of the way that it should be.
Wow.
I think that's great. I didn't know that story about your dad. I don't think we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
So what a great story, and and obviously all that experience. And what's really interesting to me is your experience in a corporate law firm. You saw what kind of the status quo, the normal method of operation in a law firm is, and you do things differently at Young Law Group. And I'm sure when you were in-house general counsel, you saw a lot of stuff.
Yes.
From that's a whole different world. And
Whole different world.
Seeing things from the in-house general counsel corporate side, I'm sure you learned a bunch of things.
Yes.
that make you do things differently when you're representing
Yeah.
little guy business owners, right?
It was all part of a learning experience, and that's what I'm so grateful for. Charles, he knew from the beginning that we would have our own business, and so he was ready. From the time I was in law school, he was like, all right, when are we going to open a firm? And for me, I was like, well, I've got to learn how to be a lawyer. I've got to learn, and what if we fail? And, those types of things that go through any business owner's mind, when you're thinking about starting your own business. It's scary. It's really scary, to give up the stability that, I worked for, because I had so much instability growing up, based on my family's experience and the loss of their business and things like that.
That's great. So I want to take a break here, but before we take a break, before we leave this topic of how your experience shaped Young Law Group, what are some of the founding principles that you founded Young Law Group on based on that experience?
Well, one is really to be of service. So I always approach things from a place of contribution. That's why we do things like educational events. We do free educational events like a complimentary wine and wills, where we do a wine tasting and then a wills and trust workshop. We do a weekly webinar. I've got an on-demand webinar on our website, younglawlive.com. And it's all about providing that information so that people can have that information, be able to make informed, educated decisions, and hopefully they'll want to work with me. But for me, it's about giving that information and letting you do with it, what will be best for you. So that's one of the main things that is different as far as how we approach things. Another thing is we're relationship based. So the relationship with whoever that we're working with is so important, whether it's clients, whether it's colleagues, collateral professionals, supporting each other to really elevate each other, leveling up, and being able to achieve anything as far as our objectives and goals together. So it's collaboration really, and making sure that we're supporting each other in the best way. When it comes to our clients, one of the things that we do, which is different, is our program and our process, our practice really is set up to cultivate an ongoing relationship where when you come in and we do your estate plan or your business planning or whatever it may be, it's really the beginning. It's the beginning of our relationship. So I'm not just going to collect a check and say, okay, see you later, and you never hear from me again, especially on the estate planning side where your life is going to change. The law is going to change. So we want to make sure that your planning stays dynamic, stays current. So reviewing your planning, updating your planning, that's all really important as part of that process. So I reach out, at least, every so often, newsletters on your anniversaries, to continue to have that relationship and ongoing communication to make sure that things are still in order and will continue to work the way that you want.
All right. Do you have any questions before we take a
No,
break?
I think I'm gonna save my questions and after the break.
Okay, sounds good. So stay right here. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. because I want to come back to talking more about that lift structure.
Okay.
I want to talk more about your communication and community and relationship building efforts. And I want to talk about why it's important for business owners, even if you are just starting, beyond the legal aspects of what we talked about starting a business, is that idea of estate planning, long-term care planning. I want to talk about why that's important. I know you have some very personal connections and professional connections to that as well. You've probably seen, if you're from Las Vegas, you've probably seen Shane on the news over the last few months, and we will get into that, why and what that's about when we come back. So come back to Vision to Success.
As we continue to grow and build a brand, social media shows continue to develop and discover new possibilities to help one another. Our affordable services will help us move to the next level of our journey. Host your own show to inspire or entertain others for as low as $150 per month.
You have 20 shows a week, live stream.
We are looking for sponsors. We showcase your business products and services on our network to be seen by your target market for as low as $200 a month.
That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations.
Let us promote and advertise your event, giving your venue the red carpet treatment. This platform allows venues that feature entertainment, singers, bands, DJs, comedy, fashion, corporate events, and family events to be showcased in a new direction that also involves your audiences. Starts at $200 an hour. We also provides video editing, website builder, commercial video for your business, music videos, photography, provided by our affiliates. As we build our community, we pay it forward. Our nonprofit organization GI Connections is all about giving back to our community. Join us create outreach programs to help our community and live a happy, peaceful, and unity. Let us bring the world to you.
We've reached the age of live streaming on social media shows. You may ask, we're already ahead of the curve, so why do you need to advertise with us? Well, only 8% of the businesses in the US are using digital advertising to grow their business. That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations. So get your brand ready for digital monetization, for we are looking for sponsors, which will bring more traffic to your business and ultimately mean more sales. So let's bring the world to you. Inquire now.
Hey, welcome back to Vision to Success with our guest Shane Young. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So anyways, I love everything that you were talking about. I'm just cannot actually stop listening to you because I think the best thing that, we as a business owner, either you're it's a lawyer company or media company like us or anything, it's really important of being in service to people. Yeah, that's the one of the reason why I built this company is because of too negative on social media. People are just taking advantage of people having their own show and those kind of things. That's the reason. That's actually urged me to like, hey, I'm gonna put up my mind, and I'm gonna make sure that it's not all about money,
Right.
but it is about inspiring and reaching out to people. So that's why it touched me so much when
Thank
you were
you.
saying that.
Thank you. And I think that the natural progression is when you do come from a place of service and people see you, they see what you're doing and they see that you're willing to help and support others, that naturally that just attracts a certain type of people, to your community, your circle, and then naturally your business grows from there. So I think it all has an impact in a way that is beneficial to all of us.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of those community building efforts you do. Let's talk about first. Let's talk about Wine and Wills.
Okay.
And then I don't know if you're still doing it, but for a while you were doing a women's business owners group. So let's talk about those two things before we get back into the technical and legal aspects of what we're here to learn today.
Sure. So on the educational side, as far as what we provide to the community, as you mentioned, we do a Wine and Wills event. We do a monthly event. It's in person or you can attend virtually. So YLG Wine is the website where you can get information on that. The next one will be May 12th or May 13th at 6 p.m. at my office. So you can register for that. There is limited
What day is that?
capacity. It's Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday, May 12th or 13th at 6 p.m. So you can attend in person or you can attend virtually. That's an event that we do monthly. We also do a weekly live webcast. So it's the same information. It's essentially, a wills and trust workshop, estate planning 101, really going into the ins and outs of what estate planning is, including, if you're a business owner, your business as an asset as well, how to protect your business and anything that you own, really. Anything that's important to you, your family, your kids. So we go into all those details, what the common mistakes are as far as estate planning. Even when you work with an attorney, traditionally, there's usually gaps or holes because there
Is this free to join?
It's free, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's complimentary. So all of the events that we do are complimentary, actually. So Wine and Wills is complimentary. The live webcast is also complimentary. And then I have an on-demand webinar. So that's available 24/7. You can get that at younglawlive.com. So I try to make it easy, as easy as possible for people to get the information.
Nice.
And that's usually the hardest thing, is for people realizing that it's something that they need to take the time to, spend that hour. It's so worth your time. I have not had one single person attend an event that, that has told me, oh, that was a waste of my time. All of the feedback that I have gotten is positive, and I've been doing this for years. So, that should tell you something. And I promise you, you will learn something. You will learn something. You just have to show up. So that's on the educational side, estate planning focused. I also do other things. Every once in a while, I'll do a different type of webinar specifically focused on, business, kids protection planning, long-term care planning. I go out in the community and I speak on different topics. So that's always an option.
What's the most common thing you find people either have a question about, or once they get to the seminar and have a glass of wine, what's the most common thing you find that you help people at Wine and Wills?
Really just understanding what estate planning is and how it should be done. Because I have a lot of people that will come to the events and they've done some planning. They might have a will, they might have a trust, but whenever they come, they're like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize all of these things that you've shared. My eyes are open now. Many people, like a common misconception that we talk about is many people think that having a will is a complete estate plan, that it will take care of everything. A will doesn't take care of everything. It actually only deals with the disposition of your assets. So it just basically says who gets what. Doesn't keep your family out of court, so your family would have to still go through probate. Doesn't avoid taxes, all of the probate and court expenses. It's a public process. It's a long process, so it's definitely something that you want to go into when you're doing your planning. Go into it fully informed and know, what type of planning will be a good fit for you. So really just the understanding of what estate planning is generally, and then what is needed for you specifically. So estate planning should not be a one size fits all thing. Everyone's planning should be different. Your planning is different. It's going to look different than what my planning looks like and what your planning looks like, right?
I'm planning on blowing all my stuff before I go, so I don't need one. But
Well, okay. So that's a really really good. You raise a good point, because that's another misconception, right? That people think, oh, well, I have to have a bunch of assets or financial wealth to pass down, and that's not true. Estate planning should be really a comprehensive plan that addresses all types of contingencies. So if you're in an accident, if you're disabled, if you're hospitalized, incapacitated, who can step in immediately to talk to your doctors, make your medical decisions, your end of life decisions, handle your financial affairs, take care of your kids, your pets, and what happens to your assets as well. But yeah, if you're over 18 and you're a legal adult, you should have some type of planning in place. It may not be a full comprehensive plan that someone that has a bunch of assets or a bunch of businesses or different family dynamics, but if you're over 18, you should have some type of plan in place. So thank you for bringing that up.
Excellent. So if you're like me and you're planning on to Brewster's Millions at all and have it gone,
you still need a plan.
You still need a plan, because there's some stuff that has to happen after you're gone.
Right.
And you don't want to leave that for your family to take care of and to have to think about. So great. I do want to come back to the estate planning stuff. The women's business group. I really want to make sure we talk about that.
Yes. So we started a group, a local group called Women Decision Makers, and we do an event. We do an event actually every month. So every other month we do a breakfast at 8 a.m. It's usually the last Wednesday of the month. So the next one will be May 26th, and you're welcome to join.
I know. She's been asking me, and
Yes.
I'm super busy. This is a one-woman business. I'm the only one who's not taking care.
We're fixing that.
Yeah, but we're fixing that.
Yes.
So eventually, yes.
Yes. So we do the breakfast that you're welcome to come to, and that
I'll
is
be
at
there one
Bottega.
day.
Yeah, it's
I
at
promise
Bottega
you.
Exchange. So you can attend in person. That's nice. It's always fun to have people in person. But you
yes.
can also attend virtually. And then in the other months, in April for this month, we are doing a Women Decision Makers Power Hour. So that will be a smaller group of women at my office. It's kind of like a mastermind where, it's just really about connecting with a smaller group. And the group in general is really about women supporting other women. So whether you are a business owner, a professional, a stay-at-home mom, your household CEO or CFO, just being able to come together, form a community of women that support one another professionally, personally, and just have a good time. So we've done a lot of business actually, which I'm really proud of, with a lot of the different women that come to the events, and they're able to make these really valuable connections with other women in the community. So that's been a really fun thing to do. And then not to leave you out, Jason, we also have another networking group that we started called Las Vegas Professional Power Players. So we do a power hour every other month. We actually just did one last week. And
that was new information for me, so I'll be at your next one.
Yeah, so I'd love to have you, have you part of that. But
Absolutely.
What we found is, we've been able to use our law firm, and just being, growing up, my husband is born and raised Las Vegas, so we've got really strong ties in the community. So we've been able to use the platform of our business to be able to expand and bring other people in. And we work with a lot of, other professionals, financial advisors, CPAs, accountants, realtors, other business owners, that we're able to collaborate with and work together on a lot of different things. So it's been fun.
Yes.
It's especially true in Las Vegas, I found, as I've been in business here. The first time I was here, I was still in the Air Force, so that community relationship piece was not as important to me, but I learned that very quickly moving here, is your community relationships matter so much everywhere, but especially Las Vegas. And also, and what I love what you're doing with these groups is, business is very hard to do by yourself, and you need to build a team around you.
Yes.
And your team isn't just your paid employees.
Right.
It's the people in these groups that support you, that you ask for favors, that ask you for favors, that you build strategic partnerships and collaborations with. And so groups like this are so important to helping, especially new business owners, build that team and support network around them. So I think it's so great that you've expanded this even far beyond what I knew you had done. So that's so exciting that you're doing all these things in the community.
Thank you. It's really one of the best parts of what we do. I love engaging with people. I love having the conversations, and really feeling like, we were talking about inspiration, inspiring, helping other people, in ways that you don't necessarily think that you're helping, and being able to utilize the resources that we have within one another.
Yes, that's amazing. Yeah, that's our mission statement is to inspire, educate, and entertain others and help one another. So
Yep.
yeah, that's our mission statement.
Yeah, I think that's why we're aligned so well, because we come from a similar place.
Well, so many great community efforts, so many great education efforts, and relationship building efforts that you're doing, and I think that's what really sets you apart from a lot of the other not just law firms but businesses in town. Is you're really actively reaching out. Now I want to shift gears back again. I want to get back to that idea of lift.
Okay.
And I want to talk about we talked about the legal aspect, the structure, and but also you've got three other parts of that. What are things that business owners should be thinking about, either as they're starting their business, or if they haven't thought about this step before, even if they've been in business for years, what should they be thinking about now so that they're prepared for the future?
Right. So I always when we talk to business owners, I always start with, do you have an estate plan? Really, because that's the foundation of any planning that we're doing and the impact that it will have on your business. So I always recommend that we look at, what their legal life planning looks like for them, what they should have in place, because, when we're talking about assets, for example, assets are really anything that you own. When you're a business owner, that's usually a huge asset. Your business is one of, could be very, very valuable. So when we talk in terms of estate planning and we're looking at all of these components of your life and we get into the assets and we talk about making sure that your business is properly protected, there's a couple of levels or layers to that. One is if we're setting up a trust, for example. A trust is one of the tools that we have within estate planning to make sure that things are handled privately, immediately, without having to go to court if and when anything happens to you. We want to make sure that any assets that you have are properly put into your trust, that they're properly funded to your trust, including your business interests. So I can tell you, I've worked with several, I can't even tell you how many business owners that will come in, they'll have estate planning in place. They may have a trust. And then when I ask them about, when we go through their assets and I do a review and I prepare a family wealth inventory, so we're not forgetting about anything, that's important also. We don't want to overlook any assets and have things end up in probate court or in the state's unclaimed property department or get taxed. So when we do that process and we talk about the business and I say, okay, so let's look at your business documents in respect or in connection with your estate plan. Has your business been funded to your trust? And most business owners are like, what does that mean? I have no idea. So that's another benefit of working with us is we look at everything, big picture. If you're a business owner, we can make sure that your business is part of your estate plan. Now, we want to make sure that that's funded, that asset is funded to your trust so that we are avoiding court if anything happens, that there is a proper plan in place, that those business assets don't go to someone else, they don't get caught in court, that they go to your family, your loved ones.
And that's what I want to circle back to before we go a little further is what happens to your business, what happens to your business partners, what happens to your employees, never mind the stuff.
Right.
And the buildings and all that kind of stuff. What happens to the people in your life, your business partners, your employees, your family, if you don't have something like this in place?
Right. And that's kind of the other piece of it, right, is business succession planning. If just like how we do estate planning for our lives, our business needs a plan. If we become incapacitated, what happens? Who can continue the operations? If something happens and you don't make it, if you die unexpectedly or whatever happens, what is the continuation? What's the plan? Is your business to be sold? What does that look like? Even if you're a sole owner, if you're the only one that owns your business, you still need to have a plan so that all those things happen. The transition happens. The assets go to your family or your loved ones. If you are a business owner and you have other owners, other members of your LLC or other partners as part of your business, it's really important that you've got a plan in place for if one of you leaves, if one of you dies, if one of you is incapacitated. So things like buy-sell agreements, making sure that you've got, things to be able to fund a buy-sell agreement if someone decides to, if something happens to one of the partners or the members or the owners. A proper business succession plan that we talked about or I referenced a few moments ago, so that there is a proper plan so that you can handle things immediately, you know, privately, that everything is laid out in a way that works and really makes it clear for anyone that may be involved.
Is that part of the business plan, or that is another part of
It's
the
part of the business planning session, you know, that we talk about when I talked about the business planning session. So it can be part of your overall business plan, but a business a succession plan is actually something that goes much more, you know, detailed.
So it could be separate
Yes,
or part.
it could be. Yes,
Oh.
Yeah,
it could be.
if you're building a business plan is not a plan for how you do your day-to-day business. And a lot of people don't understand this. A business plan is for how your business makes money.
Right.
Right. And that's what investors in a bank or a bank wants to see. If they don't care about this stuff unless you're buying the services from them.
Right.
So I just want to emphasize, if you own a business or you're partners with somebody in a business and something happens to you, I hope your business partners and your family like watching court shows on TV, because they're going to be spending a lot of time in court and they're going to be doing a lot of paperwork. That's one of the main reasons it's important to think about this now. It's not about you not, it's about when you're not there, you're leaving this behind for someone to take care of, and they don't know without this plan, they don't know what was in your head on how you wanted it to happen.
Exactly, and it's expensive. It's so
It
expensive.
really is. It's, I mean,
So
And it's
never mind the
time-consuming.
cost.
Yes.
I mean, time
So
consuming. That's the, I think, biggest challenge is if you leave or you're gone, the time that they will spend finding paperwork, finding things, talking to people, and then going to court, finding an attorney. It's gonna be like
Your family's life will become doing this for
a long time.
12, 18 months minimum.
Yeah. At least.
So
I know a person who actually been doing it for 5 years.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's really like there's no
Right. And we see it happen, you know, with these celebrities, for example, like Tony Hsieh, right? Tony Hsieh is unfortunately someone who passed away, Las Vegas visionary, former Zappos CEO, died at 46, right? So totally unexpected. He had no estate plan.
He's 1 year younger than me. So
Yeah.
so how do you think that makes me feel right now?
Yeah. He had no plan in place. And so immediately a petition was filed here in Clark County regarding his estate. That petition was immediately became a public record, right? Because anything that's filed in probate court is public. That's another thing most people don't realize. So when that happened, his family's personal information, their home addresses, their contact information, his brothers, his parents, is all out there now for anyone to see. Plus his death certificate, all of the assets and everything that's happening within the probate are now public. And I know you've seen some of the recent stories.
That was the first time I saw you in probably a year, was on our local news talking about this.
Yeah. I think I've been interviewed 3 times already just on Tony Hsieh's case, because there's so many things that are now bubbling up. So it's the probate. It's he's got all the properties here in Las Vegas. Over 100 were put up for sale. Not only are properties here in Las Vegas having to be dealt with, but he recently had purchased a Utah property for over $56 million. So any state in which he owns real estate or real property there's going to have to be a probate filed in every single state. So it's double, triple, quadruple, whatever the amount of probate fees, the expense. It's going to be a mess.
And his family's involved.
Yes.
His employees outside, you know, he had employees for his own kind of personal company are involved because they have claims against the estate. The city's involved, the state's involved, the county's involved. It gets really complicated really quickly. So be cool. Don't do this to your family. Go see Shane, or if you're not local, go see someone like Shane in your community.
Oh, they can come here, right?
Yeah, even if you're not local, this is actually one of the silver linings of the pandemic, is because we can do everything virtually. We have a lot of clients from out of state that are like, hey, Shane, can you do our estate planning? We're in New York, Texas, Florida, whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're able to do that.
So you're licensed in such a way that you can help people in other states.
So how it works is I'm licensed in Nevada, but I have got colleagues, so I've got
Okay.
a network where I am able to co-counsel. So the clients don't, it doesn't cause any burden on you as the client. I basically just have to have another attorney, my co-counsel, sign off on the documents that we're preparing. So,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So super easy, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you like what you're hearing today, get on Wine and Wills virtually. You said it's Wednesday and Thursday this week?
It's May 12th
Okay.
or 13th.
May 12th or 13th.
Or we do have the webinar, which is available every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So younglawlive.com is where we host all of our virtual and upcoming events. So check out that website and you'll be able to register for anything from there.
So, but go and register. You
Yes.
can't just show up, right? So,
Right. Please
So-
register.
and
Oh,
if you
shucks.
and if you are local
That's
and
what
you're
you were
and you're
telling
comfortable
me.
with it, come in person.
Yeah.
So,
I'd love to see you.
I
Yeah.
was gonna come and then I look at it. It says register, and I'm like, okay, cannot go.
Yeah.
I remember that time last month.
Well,
or,
we
yeah.
wouldn't send you away. If you
But anyways, where they can find you, your website, and
Yes.
they can call your office or
Yeah.
anything.
So younglawlive.com. So Young Law Live is the website that I mentioned a couple of times. My office phone number is 702-473-5600, 473-5600, or even reach out to me directly via email. That's usually the best way to reach me. It's Shane.
it works.
Yeah, right? Shane at younglawNV.com.
Before we go, do you need to do any legal disclaimering as an attorney on a show like this?
Yes,
Okay.
I would love to do that. So the information that was provided today is not legal advice. It's general educational information. So if you do have specific legal questions, please do contact me so we can have a more personal conversation to be able to address those needs.
As my good friend Jordan Harbinger says, Shane is a lawyer, but she is not your lawyer.
Right.
So none of what you saw here today is her giving you legal advice.
Right.
So we have a few minutes left. Is there? We'll go back through how everyone can contact you again.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to leave us with that we haven't talked about?
I would just reiterate what we've been talking about as far as making sure that you're making informed decisions, right? We get so busy, we get busy with our day to day, life gets in the way, we're running our businesses, but really taking the time to spend that 1 hour, whether it's watching the webinar, attending Wine and Wills, I promise you it will be worth your time. So I hope that both of you will either watch the webinar or attend Wine and
I'm
Wills.
gonna come see you here in
Yeah.
the next few weeks.
Good. And always
I'm
give me your
coming on the
feedback.
26th.
Okay, awesome. Yes. So, and always give me feedback. I always ask for feedback on, what was helpful to you? What other questions do you have? How can I do better in providing, resources? So whenever we get feedback, I do take it to heart and I want to make sure that what I'm doing is helpful.
Yeah, and we talk about this on the show a lot, and I talk about this a lot with business clients, and Maria, you and I talk about this, is we want you to make conscious decisions now when it's not a crisis, even if it
Yes.
turns out not to be the right decision, because if you delay on making a conscious decision now, you might get boxed into a decision that's not the right decision for you later
Exactly,
on.
right. It's the state that's making decisions for you, or a judge, or strangers, or people that you wouldn't want making decisions. So now is the time, while you are alive and well, to go ahead and make those really important decisions. So, and that's what we say, make the decisions during a time of convenience, not a time of crisis. We don't want that to happen.
I love that. I think I'm gonna take that, and it's a Facebook post.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is Vision to Success with our Evil Genius Leadership.
Yeah, Jason LeDuc. and if this was helpful to you today, or you're at least a little bit entertained, please share
share
this. Please tag us, Evil Genius Leadership, social media shows, Young Law
Young
Group. Please tag everybody. Please comment. Please share. If you found any value in this at all, or if you didn't, just share it anyway. So
And also follow or join the group Women Decision Makers. You can get so much good information out there. I've been actually member for a few months now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Shane, tell everybody one more time where they can reach you.
Sure. So phone number is 702-473-5600. My email is Shane, SHANE, @younglawnv.com. And then our website that features all of our virtual events and upcoming events is younglawlive.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Shane, for joining us today. I hope our viewers find all the things that you talk about as informative and use it to work for them. And thank you, Jason, for today's show.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here. And if you are enjoying this show, if you like what you see and you are a business owner and you want to come on the show, contact us, social media shows.
Admin@socialmediashows.com or info@socialmediashows.com. We also have our business phone number, 702-848-7670.
And even if you are just starting your business or even thinking about starting your business, come on the show, because on a normal show, we have a second guest where the panel helps coach them through some of the challenges they're having getting their business started or growing their business. So, so if you're a business owner and you want to come talk about your expertise like Shane did, please contact us. Even if you're just thinking about starting a business, come on the show and we'll help you out with a very highly qualified guest like Shane.
Yes. Thank you so much, and we will see you again in 2 weeks.
Getting your business started, or if you're struggling with your business, trying to get those customers, trying to communicate what you do, you've always got to come back to the first one is your overall business strategy. And like we said, that starts with defining why you started your business, who you're doing it for, and how you help them. We help people with the nuts and bolts pieces of their business turn your dream, your spark of an idea into reality.